Meeting to order. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Changes to the agenda.
No, Chairman.
Roll call, please.
Chairman Saylor?
Here.
Vice Chairman Jacobs?
Here.
Commissioner Helmer? Here. Commissioner Pruitt?
Here.
Public comments under Government Code 54954.3. Members of the audience may address the commission on any item of interest to the public or on any agenda item before or during the commission's consideration of the item. State law prohibits the Planning Commission from acting on non-agenda items. Did we receive anything written or? Okay, seeing no one in the audience, we'll move right along to the information and consent calendar. There's one item, the approval of the minutes from the December 14th, 2021 meeting. If there's no need for discussion, the chair will entertain a motion.
I motion to approve.
Commissioner Helmer made the motion to approve. Does the motion have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Pruitt made the second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Moving right along, public hearings. We have one item, conditional use permit application, CUP 21-11, expansion of existing tire shop at 175 South 6th Street.
Thank you, Commissioners. Tonight, staff is recommending approval of Resolution 022P-001 for an application for conditional use permit based on the findings and subject to conditions of approval for an existing tire shop at 175 South 6th Street. I want to just try to give some background on this project and then kind of the purpose of the conditional use permit. This property has actually gone through change of ownership. The new owners are looking to or are going to be operating this property as a tire shop, which is currently being operated as a tire shop. This project originally was approved prior to the code change, so they've been on operations for quite some time, which at that time did not require conditional use permits for like automotive type uses. And so they've been operating as a legal non-conforming use. And so the purpose of tonight's request is one to the applicants requested, the new owner is requesting to add a few bays to the existing building. And so it qualifies as an expansion of a non-conforming use. And I think we brought these before the commission before, but typically when there's an expansion of a non-conforming use, the code does allow for some relief in terms of issuance of a use permit, as long as it meets certain criteria. So you'll see that in the findings section at the bottom of the report. But primarily they're looking at increasing the number of bays, which obviously expands the use. And then staff increased and then allowed some additional conditions regarding some parking. We all obviously know it's an existing site with existing asphalt. There's not, it's sometimes, and the way the city's approach has been with trying to be the most business-friendly community, trying to put some undue burden on these particular owners would be not necessary at this point, but in terms of some things like parking we've looked at, and then signage will come back as a separate sign application to the staff as an administrative permit. So I'll go through this a little bit. I provided some information regarding what a legal nonconforming use is, and basically just saying that, there's what a nonconformity is, which it results from the inconsistency with the requirements of the zoning code, including but not limited to location, density, height, yards, or just lack of a conditional use permit, which in this case is that case. And then basically talking about there's no substitution, expansion, or other change in use, and no alteration or change in structures is permitted, except otherwise provided in that section, which is related to the issuance of a conditional use permit. In terms of tire sales and installation, zoning classification, they are located in the CS zone, service commercial zone, which permits these subject to a conditional use permit. In terms of California Environmental Quality Act, the application constitutes a project in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, and staff has prepared the appropriate environmental analysis. And then once the application was deemed complete, staff solicited comments from the different city departments. And at this point in time, the conditions and the report incorporates comments from the different departments, as well as there are going to be some additional communications with the applicant as they start storing tires, making sure it meets proper fire code, building code requirements as they transfer uses, transfer operations per se. So they'll get a new business license, it'll trigger, we'll make sure it triggers a new business license inspection to ensure that we have all the proper life safety, current life safety requirements. So the expansion is located, as mentioned, in the service commercial zoning designation. The site's approximately 30,492 square feet. There's an existing industrial metal structure on the parcel that has historically been used for a tire shop and recently changed ownership. The site is fully improved with asphalt and or concrete with existing fenced area adjacent to the building. Currently, there are no delineated parking spaces present on the property. However, historically, parking has occurred in front of the building or on 6th Street. As you know, there's a lot of properties in town that just, they obviously don't meet all of our standards, but they were legally allowed to operate at some point in time, whether they have the right parking, the right landscaping, as long as they don't inhibit public health, safety, and welfare, they typically can continue to exist. We don't typically push on amortizations and removing these uses as they're currently operating. The parking requirement for this facility would be 2 spaces per bay. So for the expansion, staff recommended at least 8 parking stalls in addition to 1 ADA stall be delineated, since the expansion of the use involves an increase in the number of bays. And the number of bays is how automotive tire installations are associated with the number of parking stalls. That's how they do it. So it's not based on square footage like we've seen in other projects. It's based on the number of bays. And so it's 2 parking stalls per bay. There's currently some landscaping along the project frontage. There's some trees, which does not fully satisfy the plan and zoning code requirement for landscaped areas. However, a use or structure shall not be deemed non-conforming solely because it does not conform with the planting area regulations. And the application is to request for the expansion of the use, which is the bay doors, resulting in increased productivity. So in terms of surrounding uses, to the south, we have unoccupied commercial building. To the north, we have heavy commercial use. To the west is the CHP office, which is public facilities. And then to the east, we have the office. There's an office and then a storage lot, which is service commercial. Signage will be requested in separate application to the Community Development Department, and as a condition of approval, will be added to allow new signage at this location so long as it's in compliance with the sign code, or permitted just to do a change in copy of the existing boxes that are on the actual building. So to be somewhat, their original application included a pole sign, but because it is in kind of the downtown overlay area, we don't allow pole signs in that area. So I advised the applicant that unfortunately I wouldn't be able to process the sign application through the CUP, and that we could handle it through just an administrative sign permit, which we typically would do. And so they were amenable to that, so we'll just receive that separately. So either they'll decide to put a monument sign up or some other type of sign that would be qualifying in that area, or they can use those existing boxes and maintain that legal nonconformity. In terms of public comments, on January 13th, public notices for the project were posted and mailed to the property owners located within 300 feet of the project site. And as of this report, we didn't receive any comments. I do want to advise the commission that I did speak with the applicant. Unfortunately, the applicant was unable to make it. They had some issues that they weren't able to attend. However, I did speak with them today to verify that they were in agreement with the conditions of approval, because I know that's typically something we like to ensure from the applicant. I did receive an email from them, so I have put it into my file that they do agree with the conditions as written here and recommended by staff. In terms of the environmental review, the project site's located within the city of Coalinga limits on a commercially zoned parcel surrounded by existing commercial development and does not have any value as habitat for endangered, rare, or threatened species. The proposed project would not result in any significant effects related to biological resources, traffic, noise, air quality, or water quality, and the site would be adequately served by all required, or currently is served by all required utilities and public services. Therefore, it meets the requirements of Section 15301 of the guidelines, of CEQA guidelines, and be considered exempt under existing facilities. And so, lastly, with the reasons for recommendation, we have the conditional use permit findings, which is 1, general plan consistency, Number 2, neighborhood compatibility. And number 3, an asset for the neighborhood. So with that, I have attached the resolution 022P-001. I have included some conditions in here specifically related to the signage, talking about no storage of vehicles outside. As we all know, that's a current problem at that particular location. And I have had lengthy conversations with the property owner, and they assured us that that is not how they are going to run business. And so we expect that once they go through the process of the current occupant leaving the property, that those vehicles are going to leave as well. So there will be no storage of vehicles overnight. There may be a few in the back area, but they should not be visible from the public right away, which we have obviously, and we know we've had those issues in the past with some of these auto repair places where there's a lot of vehicles that are being left dismantled or they're left parked for several days, where typically some of these places shouldn't even be doing repairs that would require that type of lengthy stay of a vehicle. So, and then also some other items that we brought in directly from the code regarding basically just making sure that all work conducted within an enclosed building with sound attenuating construction to absorb the noise. Air compressors shall be located inside the building. Storage volumes and locations will be approved by the fire department. And then any other conditions that obviously the commission deems necessary to improve the health, safety, and welfare. So if there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. Unfortunately, the applicant isn't here. And again, this is a public hearing chairman.
Yes. Okay, as was stated, this is a public hearing, so we will go ahead and open the public hearing. Commissioner Pruitt, do you have any questions for Sean?
Not at this time.
Commissioner Helmer?
I do not.
Vice Chair Jacobs?
I know that building, just for full disclosure, I used to manage it. But they want to put 3 or 4 doors on Glen Street, the east side of that building, coming into the structure itself.
Yes.
Are they going to put in then a new
Drive
approach through there, and there's a couple trees there? Are those going to get
I think there's existing driveways on 6th Street, so I think they'll probably be accessing via 6th Street. There was no proposal to add additional driveways. But my understanding is there is a driveway on I guess that would be considered kind of the east side of 6th Street.
Yeah.
There's a drive approach there, and there's a gate, so I think they'll be able to pull in and then pull in that direction.
Is it just pull in and pull out, or are they going to try and go through? Do they want to operate that as a through building?
No, it's not my anticipation. I think it's just basically like a bay. Like if you go to a large tire shop where they've got probably 5 bays in a row, they're just going to have a couple on 6th Street, and then they're going to have additional ones on Glen as well. I think they're trying to allow for more operations, because I think right now there's only 1 bay really that's being used. I don't know what's behind that other bay that really you never see the doors up on. Typically, you only see the doors up on that 1 bay that's on the far west side.
Yeah.
So imagine in terms of how they want to, because they want to increase productivity, similar to like Kalinga Tires that basically has about 4 or 5, and then Billingsley that has about 4 or 3. So they want to be able to increase the amount they can, because 1's not going to really be enough for them to be able to do anything efficiently either. So.
Do they currently have a tire shop that
I think they operate Dinuba, which is really interesting because Kalinga Tire, that guy came from Dinuba as well. Yeah. So, but yeah, their application says they're from Dinuba, so I think they may currently have a business there in Dinuba.
Perfect. Anyone else? Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. If there's no need for any further discussion, the chair will entertain a motion.
I'll motion to approve.
Commissioner Pruitt made the motion to approve. Does this motion have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Helmer made the second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Pruitt? Aye. Commissioner Helmer? Aye. Vice Chairman Jacobs?
Aye.
Chairman Saylor?
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Moving right along to department reports or staff announcements.
I don't have any at this time.
Okay, commissioner announcements.
I wanted to point out, and that we had those sidewalks put in on Sunset there. I've been playing some music over at that church, and there's some real tripping hazards there. I don't know if you've noticed that.
On the
Chuck.
corner?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is still, I think, I'd have to double check with Eric, but I think that's still a punch list item because the PG&E has to actually raise that vault. And so that's why we've got some temporary, I think there's some temporary plates out there because there's a PG&E vault. And so when they put the sidewalk in, it didn't match up with in order to meet the actual ADA slope. And PG&E is aware of it, but we know how long, unfortunately, it takes PG&E to do anything, i.e. the Cambridge Elm signal. February 23rd is the date that they are expecting to energize. That was recent. That is from an email from PG&E.
So that is when it will be operational.
It should be operational that day because the lights will be on unless we have to wait for Caltrans to calibrate it. But I imagine the day that they energize it, we should be coordinating everyone. There's a little bit of curb ramp work that needs to be done on the college side. All the striping's in. And so after that, we should hopefully have a signal almost 8 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to close the grant sometime soon. It'd be
Yeah.
nice.
Before the decade mark, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, if I get some information, I'll update you if I figure out, because yeah, I know that was an issue. But yeah, we have to rely on them we have to basically put a new little ring around that to raise the box up.
I know two older ladies that have just flat.
Yeah, I'll follow up with Eric. I know we just about closed out on that project, but I think there are some punch list items that we're still finalizing, but I think that project's pretty much done.
Perfect. All righty. Well, meeting adjourned.